Assalamu alaikum. Can you guys have a seat? Everybody has a piece of paper in front of them? Bismillah, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. This is actually a long story in the Quran. I'm going to try to make it as quick as possible. So please try to pay attention. I need a huge favor from you. As I'm saying the story, I need you to write down things that you've learned from this story. Okay? I'm going to ask you each one at the end to tell me what you've learned. Got a deal? It's very simple. It's a very simple story. It could be a movie. Is it a movie? No, I don't think it's been done a movie. But it could be a movie. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. We'll go ahead and begin, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This story, the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam,
Want me to zoom in?
the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam spoke about it in a very long hadith. And it's also, there's a surah that was revealed describing scenes from the story. The story is about a king, a monk, and a little boy. There was a king. This king was a very aggressive and mean king. He tortured his people, he punished them, he was not good to them. At that time, this story happened, and the Prophet mentioned the story, it happened 40 years before the time of the Prophet ﷺ. This king ended up, as a lot of kings do at that time, anointing himself as God. So he can do whatever he wants. And he pretty much abolished anything that's relating to worshiping Allah. At that time they were Christians, and this story happened in Yemen. So, subhanAllah, these people completely abandoned the religion and started worshiping this king. So at one point, there was only one person left, one monk left. And he realized what the king was doing was wrong, so he started talking and delivering the message. People started to talk and whisper. So the king got wind that someone's talking about another god. So he captured a couple of them, and one of them, he ended up torturing him until he gave up and said, there's a monk that was describing this thing to us. The monk found out that this was going to happen, so he ended up running away and trying to hide in a cave outside the city, or outside that village. At the same time, the king realized that because of this humming, he wanted to silence things. So he got a magician. This magician started doing things and doing magic similar to what happened at the time of the pharaohs, to make sure that the people believed that this king is a god. And people started believing him. After a number of years, this magician started to get old. So he told the king, I need you to get me a young boy, so he can carry on this magic and carry on what you were doing. So the king found a boy. That boy was about 15 years old. And he started teaching him magic. And he kept going to that magician every day to learn from him. This boy was very smart, extremely intelligent. He was learning as much as he can from this magician. On his way in and out of the city, he would pass by a place. Did anybody venture to guess what place we would pass by? Where the monk was. So one time, the monk saw him a couple of times going back and forth. He said, he looked like a good kid. One time the boy fell into a hole. And when he fell into the hole, that was outside the monk's gate. So the monk came out to him and he said, you know magic, right? He knew that this is the king, the boy that was training with the magician. You know magic, right? He said, yes. Get yourself out. So the boy stood there. Magic is just trickery. It's nothing. I can't get myself out. So the monk told him, I'll help you out. Now remember, the monk was wanted by the king, right? The monk saw in the boy's eyes that this boy is kind of intelligent, not drowsy and sleepy and sitting slouched. He was an intelligent kid, exactly. He was an intelligent kid. So he told them, if you want, I'll tell you the truth. And I'll explain to you what the magician is doing. And it's up to you to decide what you want to do. And he let him go. The boy, being curious, as most of you are, said, okay, you know what? Let me go ask about this guy. So he asked around in the village, what's the story of that monk? What do people say about him? And they said he was a very nice man, a very kind person. But there was a couple things that people just didn't understand about him. It happens a lot nowadays when you see someone that's religious, they say something's wrong with him. He's only religious, that's the only thing that's wrong about him. But people perceive it that way. So that's what they said about that monk. So subhanAllah, the boy said, you know what? Let me go and check it out and see what it is. He started going to the monk. And the monk started explaining to him, what the magician is teaching you is trickery. It's basically to cheat people, to make them believe that this king is God, and he's not. And the kid kept asking him and asking him, you know, you guys, your typical question, why? That's what he was doing. He's investigating and understanding from this monk. The monk kept explaining to him. And at a certain point, he told him that there is no God but God. La ilaha illallah. Remember, Christianity at that time, they did believe La ilaha illallah. So he believed La ilaha illallah. But at the same time, the kid kept going to the magician. He's confused. He's like, I'm learning this, and I'm learning this. What does he see when he goes to the magician? The magician was the king's right-hand man. So he sees him living all this lavish life. And where's the monk living? In a cave. So it's completely opposite. The magician is doing trickery and he's lying. The monk is telling him the truth. But the kid kept like, okay, I'll just keep going to both. The monk never told him, it's haram to go to the magician. Don't do magic. Did he say that? No. He let him go. He let him go. After a while, the kid decided, you know what, something is not right about this. I need to come to the truth. So the kid, one time when he was walking back home, before that, there was a little story that happened to the kid. When he used to go to the monk, to the magician, he would pass by the monk. So when he goes to the monk, he goes there late. So the magician would hit him. On the way back, going home, where does he go? To the monk. So he would go home late, so his parent would hit him. So he kept getting hit back and forth. He decided, you know what, I need to talk to someone. Now, if you think about it, who is he going to talk to? To who? His friends. What else? His parents. But his parents were hitting him. Yeah. The monk. The monk was the only person that was listening to him and understanding him. So he went to talk to the monk. And that's a lesson to the parents, to us. How we treat our children. Do not let them go outside and go talk outside. You got to make sure that the kids come back to the parents. Because you never know. That monk ended up being a good person. But if he was not a good person, he'll lead you astray. So anyways, so the kid said, I need to come up with a final answer because something is not right about this. So he said that if this is the truth, I need Allah to guide me. I need to get a straight answer. So one time when he was leaving, he heard people screaming and yelling, and he didn't know what's going on. So he wandered around until he got to them. And he saw something happening. There was a lion standing by a well. They used to get water from wells. And there was a lion at the edge of the well. The lion was roaring, everybody in the city, that town was screaming. So the kid said, this is my chance to find out the truth from falsehood. He said, I'm going to catch the stone. Oh Allah, if the monk is right, kill this lion with the stone. If the magician is right, do not kill him. Now think about it. Can you kill a lion with a stone? No. So he said, Bismillah. And he threw it. The lion died. He closed his mouth and the lion died. Right? It's funny. It is funny. It is funny. But the lion died. So he realized at that point what the truth was from falsehood. But what did the people say? You're what? You're an amazing magician. Did he say, no, I'm not? He didn't say anything. He went back so happy to the monk and he told him, I just did this and I'm so happy that I did this. And you know what the monk told him? Today, you are better than me. The student is better than the teacher. Can anybody tell me why? And that's something you might want to write down. Can anybody tell me why? Why would the monk say, yeah, raise your hand. Why would the monk say to the student, you're better than me? Yeah.
Because the student is always better than the teacher.
Not because the student's always better than the teacher. No, that's not always the case. What else? Huh? Closer. Huh?
Me?
Yeah?
He studies all the time.
He studies all the time. What else?
He knows more than the teacher.
No, he doesn't know more than the teacher. The teacher knows more than the kid, but you know what the kid did? He applied what he learned. The monk is hiding in the cave. The kid went out to the people. So the kid knew that this is what's going on. And the monk knew something in his head. What is the king doing? It's an opportunity. What is the king doing to the people? He's oppressing the people, telling them not to worship Allah, and punishing them and doing all that stuff. What was the lion doing? He was making people get away from the water, and they're not able to access water. What did the kid do? He killed the lion. So what did that come to the monk's mind? He is going to be able to stop the oppressive king. This kid, 15 years old, how old are you? 14, how old are you? How old are you? 16. How old are you?
18.
12. He's within your age. He's one kid within your age, just like you. Just like you. You know what he decided at that point? Wait. You know what he decided at that point? I need to do something. I need to do something about it. I'm not going to let this king go on like this. Did he carry a sword and stop doing that?
No.
What did he do? He went and started doing community service. He realized that people are sick. People need money. People need help. He started helping people. You know how he was helping people? He was giving from this person to that person. But the main thing he was known for, and mentioned in the Hadith, he was healing people by one thing. Sitting next to them and making dua. Until these people are healed. Everybody in the town started to hear his name and know about him. He was doing one thing. What was he doing? What was he doing? How was he healing people? Dua. Jazakallah khairan. The youngest kids are the ones answering. Wake up, guys. Making dua. So he was making dua and people were healed. Now, let's go back to the magician. What is going on in the magician's mind? This is not magic. You can't heal people with magic. He's doing something else. My time is near. And the king at the same time asked the kid, why aren't you going to the magician anymore? And the kid said, oh, I got all the magic that he has, I'm all set. So what came to the king's mind? I'm done with that magician. I already have the new one. Right? So the magician ran away. I'm not going to stay there. I'm gone. The kid kept helping people. He kept helping people to the extent his name was mentioned to someone that's the friend of the king. He used to sit with the king. But he was blind. So he heard about this boy that heals people. He said, you know what? I'm going to send so much gifts to this boy and have him come heal me. So he sends all these gifts to the boy and told him, I need you to come to heal me. So the boy went out to him and he said, first of all, I'm not going to take these gifts. But in order for me to heal you, you have to understand one thing. I do not heal. Did he mention this to any of the people before? No. You know what he was doing? He was doing community service. He was making da'wah without actually saying, I'm making da'wah. He was helping people without making anything other than making dua. But when the time was right, he's sitting next to the person that sits with the king all the time. He said, okay, I can heal you, but under one condition. Allah heals, not me. I make dua. If you believe, I'll make dua for you that Allah heals you and you're going to be healed. He said, and you're going to do it? He said, yes, I'll do it. Remember, see this? He's making dua and he's confident that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept his dua. Remember, lessons learned. None of you is writing anything, so subhanAllah. Lessons learned, make dua and have confirmed belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will answer your dua, even if the time does not come on your schedule. So he made dua, and the man was, again, the young boys over there, the man was healed. What did the man do when he was healed? Now, this was a blind person. He had tons and tons of money. He has everything. And by the way, who's his friend? And what was the king? What did he say, I am? I am a god. So how many times did that man ask the king, get my sight back? He's God. Get my sight back. And did the king get his sight back? No. So when this kid did it with a dua, and he told him Allah's doing it, the guy said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. I know that this is God. I believe in God. What did he decide to do? He went to the king. King, how you doing? I'm doing good. He asked him, the king asked him, wait a minute, who returned your sight back? He said, Rabbi. He said, Allah. He said, the king said, of course not. Rabbi wa Rabbuka Allah. My Lord and yours is Allah. The king thinks he's God. He immediately answered, no, it's not you. Rabbi wa Rabbuka Allah. So at that point, the king realized, you know what? Something's messed up here. Someone else is doing something on me. So he started torturing his friend until his friend told about the boy. The boy was brought. At the amazement of the king, he realized that this is the boy he was training to be the what?
Magician.
The magician. So he did like, okay, I know, and he responded to him, I know that you're doing this from your magic. So what else do you want me to do? And he said, you know what? This is not magic. This is with the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the king at that point told him, you know what? If that's the case, I'm going to show you what needs to be done. So he started torturing the kid as well. Until the kid gave up who? The monk. When the monk came, the kid looked in front of him, and they were both upset that the kid said about the monk. But he's human. He's going to torture him. He's going to give up at some point. Who's in there in front of the king now? The monk. Who else?
The boy.
The boy.
And the magician.
No.
The blind guy.
King's friend. The newly healed person. Right? So all three of them was there. The king said, I don't care about the magician, about the monk. I don't care about my friend. I care a little bit about the kid. Why? No. Other than he trained him. What did the kid do before? Heal people, right? And what did that do? People knew him. Everybody knew him. So if he did that to him, it will look something's wrong. Why would you kill a person that's healing everybody? So he said, you know what? I'm going to scare this kid. And he said, I'm going to kill first the friend in front of him. Maybe he gets scared. And see what's happening. So he went to the friend. He got the saw. Put it on top of his head. Yes. And he told him, return and believe in me. He said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. They cut him in half. Yeah. He went to the monk. Now the monk is standing in front of the child instead of that kid. And they put the saw on top of his head. Say that you don't believe in God and you believe in me. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. He did the same thing. Now this would rattle the kid tremendously. But subhanAllah, it was done at a time that it made each one of them stronger. Remember Sahara Fir'aun? We'll do that one time. But Sahara Fir'aun, they believed immediately. These people that believe immediately, none of us do that, by the way. None of us, if we're put into half a hair of this test, will fail. These people believe. We're born Muslims. They're not. They chose it. So it's different when it comes to that. So subhanAllah, this child saw this had happened. And the king knew he cannot kill him right away. So he devised a plan. He told his soldiers, dress like civilians, take the boy on a camping trip up the mountain. And when he's up there, nudge him. So he dies in an accident, right? So they took the kid, went up the mountain, and the kid started saying one thing. Write this dua. This is the same dua the Prophet Muhammad said. Allahumma ikfinihim bima shi't wa kayfa shi't. Oh Allah, protect me and set them away. Al-kifaya is to set them away from me. With whatever way you wish and however you wish, just set them away from me. Allahumma ikfinihim bima shi't wa kayfa shi't. I'll say it again at the end, because we're running out of time. Okay? What happened? Can anybody imagine what happened? If you were a director, what would happen? I say,
the people, they're the ones who fell off the mountain.
the mountain shook and the people fell. So what did the boy do? Went down the mountain, went all the way to the king, I'm back. So what did the king say? Where are your friends? They're not his friends, but where are your friends? He said, well, kafanihim Allah. Allah protected me from them. You can't do anything. He said, okay. Plan B. He got some of his soldiers, take the kid, and take him to the sea. Do the same thing. When in the middle of the sea, just dump him. They took him, did the same thing. What did the kid say? What was dua? All together. Allahumma wa kayfa shi't. Allahumma ikfinihim bima shi't wa kayfa shi't. Khalas? So he said that. What happened? Say it. It's not your turn. What happened to the boat?
The boat shook
And the people fell. And what did the boy do?
go back to the king.
Go back to the king. And this time he said something else. He was going back saying, La ilaha illallah. And the town was following him. Something was not right. And he explained to them that the king was trying to do that. And this was happening. So he went to the king and he said, you want to kill me? Dude, you want to kill me? You want to kill me? Sure. He told him, do what I tell you to do. He told him, Ijma' an-nas, gather the people. And cross me on a tree. And get a bow and an arrow. And point it towards me. Say this. Bismillah Rabbil Ghulam. In the name of Allah, the Lord of the boy. When you say this, that's the only way you're going to kill him. So he gathered everybody in town and set up the boy, and he did that. What happened to the boy?
He shot him in the stomach.
Shot him in the face. He died. The first person that ran at him was his mother. She said one thing. La ilaha illallah. And at that point, the entire village believed in Allah. They said, Amanna bi Rabbil Ghulam. The boy, did he make a da'wah to anybody? To one person. The king's friend. But he made the king that's saying, I'm Allah, I'm your Lord, admit in front of everybody that he's not. And the entire village believed. Do you think the king was happy? He was not happy. You know what the king did? He said, anybody that believed, I'm going to burn them at the stake. احفروا الأخاديد.
The whole village was
They
burned?
dig ditches everywhere and put them on fire. If anybody does not believe, throw in that fire.
So everybody was thrown in the fire?
Some people say it was close to 21,000
21,000 for what?
people.
Such even more.
They believed in Allah from one boy. From one boy did one incident. 21,000 believed. They were burned, and it's mentioned in the Hadith. It includes a mother holding a child, an infant, and the infant telling the mother, "You are right. Go to the fire." It's from the people that spoke. Sayyidina Isa spoke as a baby. This baby was one of the babies that also spoke as a baby, and it's mentioned in the Hadith. They went to the fire, everybody was burned. SubhanAllah. This was not the end. Next door neighbor to Yemen was Al-Habasha. They were Christians at that time. Remember, this is 40 years before the Prophet. They found out what he did. They came, conquered it, and everybody over there were a lot of the people that believed in Sayyidina Muhammad later on. They knew what this king has done. And this king died in a horrible way. He kept having bad dreams and nightmares that he's getting burned, and it didn't end nice for him, for everything that he's done. This surah is Surat Al Buruj. So your homework today, when you go home, read Surat Al Buruj. Okay? And try to get a tafsir and go through it. Do you know what tafsir is? Explanation. Sit with your parent and go through it. It doesn't mention the entire surah, the entire story, but it's mentioned in it. So that's it. Have anybody of you written anything that you've learned? You tried? Anybody tried? You did? That's fine. As long as you tried. What I want you to do is, if you come up with this, with one thing, the hadith, or min ad-du'a, Allahumma qini bima shi'ta wa kayfa shi'ta. If you feel that you're stuck or you're having problems, make that dua. Community service. Be good to others. Help people. Make da'wah. And, yes, sir. Wait, very quickly. You forgot. Perfect. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك اشهد ان لا اله الا انت استغفرك اللهم واتوب اليك جزاك الله خيرا. Sorry, I have to make it quick. جزاك الله خيرا.